Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the swapper. Let's continue. It's probably a bit of a mistake that you go from music in the background playing like this and then you go into pause mode and you go to crackling sound. Although in the past I definitely have said that when you pause you should mute the music, because how else, if you were getting a phone call or something like that, would you be able to hear somebody and pause the game? So I would say it probably should just go into full silence. But the next step in that kind of optimization almost certainly would be to fade the music in after you've unpaused instead of just immediately continuing it. Of course, many game developers don't think about that or do anything. I am still incredibly confused as to what the solutions and the colors here are all about. It really, to me, seems like these purple. I can only have 4 on the screen, so what is the purple doing? That potentially is letting me make another clone of myself. Or I guess maybe I can have 5 on the screen. So now what? We had 2 of them step into each other. And then I guess I can go step on that guy. And then, let's see, is there a way to kind of cancel out? That's, you have to hit B and bring up the map basically to cancel. Okay. That was all the encryption orbs we really needed for this whole area, and yet there's obviously more to do, so we should just do it. So there is another orb here, and by the looks of it, maybe some teleportation things over there. Or it might be a case more that you have to use the tunnels to kill things. I guess that might be it. Right, let's see. Do this, do this, do this. Well, no, because I can't teleport myself at that point. I would need all the reds gone. And again, it seems like you're safe if you're standing in the red light firing, as long as it lands outside of the red light. Okay. Let's just start all over again with this. Put one there. You probably put one right on the edge. You walk here to kill that one. And that kills two. But you weren't really striving for that, but whatever. You gotta get the angles pretty perfect. It seems basically like you just don't want to move at all. Okay. So I put this one falling, potentially, and it falls to its death. I come back at a further angle. I put this one falling. But I'm just out of people at that point. You can only have 5 swappers, and honestly, I didn't even know you could have 5. So. Alright, so you have the top one, I guess, fall. And then that works, I guess. There's one more encryption orb, bringing us up to 10. Now, ideally, I think what I would like to see here is a improvement on fall damage. I'm gonna leave and come back and see if there's maybe something down here. Like, yeah, ideally I'd like to see an improvement in fall damage. Yeah, it does seem like there might be something down there now. Where you can take a fall, always. If you're the main guy. But that would directly conflict with the general idea of having a non-main guy. And yeah, that would generally conflict with the idea of killing all your other clones by fall damage, and they just established that that's what they care about as far as the puzzle mechanics, is that you would Interesting. Because this is also dark, you're just never really gonna know, I guess, whether there might be a solid, like, secret area on the sides. And I guess it will just come down to whether or not I want to engage with the game that much, as far as trying to find all the secrets. If this is somewhat stuck to the ideas of a Metroidvania game anyways, you should be able to later on run around and get collectibles. Although, arguably, Maybe there won't be that many. Right, so there's a management elevator. We're going to quarters. The first question would be just, do you get killed when you touch the electricity? No. It's just there. Pressing the X button while standing over it does not do anything. The visuals and the way things are depicted are so weird. I just don't know. Am I supposed to be looking at like bunk beds? Or is there some kind of machinery? Or is that just a bunch of dead bodies? Like I just cannot tell if it's like blankets over dead bodies. Right, we have several of these unexplored hatches and a memory terminal. So, see if we can do that to go here, and we'll investigate this. Dream diary. Day 7, wake up tired, recalled an image of a balloon, then distracted by radio. Dreamed about my 13th birthday, the clown turned into a horse. Day 9, didn't sleep. Day 10, my birthday again, this time the clown turned into some kind of stone statue. Dreamed the laser drill down on the excavation site was trying to talk me into doing something I didn't want to do. So I wonder if this is a case where people are going crazy, maybe because of the Watcher rocks, or maybe not. Or if this dream diary is maybe an example of somebody who is a clone thinking that they're real, and that maybe having implanted memories of a 13th birthday, or having memories of the original version of themselves. Let's see. So we have now smaller transporters to just move us around. I guess those are the gameplay mechanics we have so far. We have a body. We have a blue light, a red light, and a purple light. Okay. Now when we stand on that, what are we supposed to do? Guess that slows your descent down. So we can do that. Can we get a good enough angle? Seems like you can't shoot through the tubes. Or I'm just out of bodies in general. Okay. So let's get a body extra that way. Let's get a body extra that way. Yep. I don't really know how to solve this puzzle problem, but it is so weird how swapping not only requires a slowdown of time, really requires almost a complete pausing of time for you to solve most of these puzzles, because you just have to stand still and yeah. Don't have enough bodies again. Let's see. I don't know how you would adjust for that. Let's see what happens if I move just a few feet forward. Didn't touch anybody. I think the thing you have to do here is you have to go through this so that positions you perfectly where you want to be. Although, would that be perfectly where you would want to be? Or do you want to stand at kind of a precise spot here? Right. So yeah, you potentially now have to do this and that and this there. That gets you back where you want to be. It doesn't get that guy back where I want it to be, so now how can I expand that divide? Or can I expand the divide? I wonder if I'm possibly just picking the wrong person to be in control. Yeah, I think I just overcomplicated that way too much. Yep. That's the danger with puzzle games, certainly, is that you might think that there's 5 steps to solving the puzzle when really there's only 1 step. Okay. If we go downward... Yeah, we would just be teleported again. So... let's just investigate these other rooms. It definitely seems like the game is giving you a lot of opportunity to simply collect more orbs, which will probably just be helpful later. If anything, I imagine the puzzles are only going to get more difficult, not easier, or the ideas around the solutions of puzzles are going to build on each other. All right. So I'm standing here. It's not letting me shoot a puzzle solution. I would want to put one there. I can put one there. Probably should just start over again. From this dark spot, Oddly, the dark spots seem to be the spots of safety. If I was to, like, prematurely put... See, that gives you light. Okay. So put one there. And then just jump upward. And then that moves you around. I can't put one there. I can put one in the flow. But there's no moving yourself there. You can put one there. And that would be like the widest divide you can do. So am I slowly needing to delete people by having them touch and trying to make a just further gap? It's just everybody now. Right. So you can make a character here, which gets you somewhat far. Not far enough, and then I guess maybe that would move things around. I'm probably overcomplicating this again. It's very possibly is something just as simple as walking a little forward. Now you walk a little forward, and then the other guy is in... He gets into the flow. He doesn't just fall down to the switch. And as soon as you get off that platform, you can't swap. So unless the solution is in here that you're supposed to swap, which I don't think that it would be, and time doesn't stop when you're doing that. Definitely feels like you need to be here at this point standing when you get a character standing on that. How could you do that? Because the last action, let's just work backwards here, would be to jump upward. I wouldn't be able to swap into the character in the top left standing in the purple field. And when you swap, you're not walking. So everything seems like this has to be part of the solution. let's see. And I can only go so far as this distance. And then I guess I could go back forward. Then I could step here. Am I out of swaps? That doesn't make sense. There's seems to only be 4 of us on the screen. It feels inconsistent as far as how many characters you can have on the screen at a time, but there actually may just be 2 stacked on top of each other at this spot. Like, you can't shoot through the red light to get up there, oddly. Well, maybe you can. Let's reset everything. Just this might be just more complicated or more simple than it seems. Okay. Yeah, it may just be that you have to do that and then do that and do that, and it's just really tight constraints. I would like a little bit more slop in that kind of puzzle. That seemed to be particularly demanding. Although, in all fairness, it doesn't seem like you actually need to solve all the puzzles. And eventually, I imagine we are going to just use this long-distance teleporter. And I don't even know how or when we would come back to this area. There's still a lot of background. It seems like it's could have a lot more rooms. I guess I have to assume these are sleeping bags. That was kind of a great example of thinking I needed to do something more than I actually did. Interesting. So now we have short-range teleporters as a gameplay mechanic. And red everywhere. Okay. So you have a big wall. And then you have a portal. We can teleport back. So if our clones are touching the portals, they can't interact with them. I'm guessing what you want to do here is something like this. Just another slow down time thing. Although in this case I will allow it to speed up just to solve that quickly. So yeah, you just needed to buy yourself time as the rock was moving up. It is incredibly strange that your technology here on this spaceship seems to also involve just floor switches and switches and basically rock doors, which I almost have to assume that the Watchers created the rock doors and the puzzles in this environment, because the actual like doors you normally see look very high-tech, and that would make a lot of sense. Now, interesting, the sound effects also slow down. This time slows down. Okay. So it seems to me what's going on is you need to get up to this area first before you can move the elevator downward, because this is a broken coal elevator section. And that would be an interesting twist if all of a sudden that broken coal elevator was magically fixed and we started to have more of a spooky, unreliable narrator aspect. I definitely have seen some games that have tried to be scary on top of trying to be just a standard adventure puzzle game type experience, and a lot of times it's nice change of pace, but a lot of times it also seems like it gets in the way. Arguably this game gets in the way, and if you were to compare it to something like Portal, where that's bright and colorful in the visuals at least, and maybe a little scary in the revelation of a GLaDOS, that may have worked a lot better to be able to actually see what you're doing and solve the puzzles first. So we open the door. There's, I guess you'd call those like hangar door type doors. And we're just gonna try to avoid getting ourselves crushed. One also assumes that these are not the Watcher rocks, but it could be. Even if they're not talking, it may very well be a case that all the rocks are connected. Okay. So if we ever go down, I would have to just assume that the game memorizes that is downward, so you can go back up. Unfortunately, it's just not worth it to run all the way to the beginning of the world. Did we miss anything else? Doesn't seem like it. So upward towards waste management we go.
I've found the ship. We can't leave. I'm afraid to stay. Don't come up here. If possession means anything anymore, then this isn't yours to see.
So very cryptic sound effects we're getting, and then we were hearing static, and I wonder if the static that we were hearing when she was talking to other people was another clone version of you. If possession means anything anymore, who knows what that is referencing, but I would suspect it means now, because you can create swapper clones, who has the rights to own anything. Which, yeah, that would be weird. But you have to go forward. The other mind pollutes our chain. Is it truly able to end itself? Interesting. So I wonder if it is fairly standard for the Watcher rocks. Can we go back and look at the logs? No, doesn't seem like there's a way to bring that up. Which that would be nice if there was a way to bring that up, but doesn't seem like it. It might be very natural for these Watcher rocks to swap and interconnect in that way. I suspect what we're going to see up here in waste management is just a dead body of ourselves, but we don't even know who we are. All I see is just a glowing mask, which that's kind of similar to the game The Fall, in that you have this suit that doesn't really know what it is or what it's doing. Yep. A lot of these visuals definitely are getting spookier, and this is almost seizure inducing with the flashing. This feels somewhat in line with the horror visuals of the Cat Lady series, or it's technically known as the Devil Came Through Here series. Of course, in that game, that's a keyboard only adventure game that highly focuses on the horror, where this is a puzzle game that seems to tease the horror. Yep. So black box download, collision with unknown vessel detected. I wonder if the vessels themselves could be swapped and cloned, an entire ship. 90 minutes ago, entering scanning range in the research station Theseus, station status derelict. 87 minutes ago, 2 lifespines detected. 80 minutes ago, or solar interference. 79 minutes, system reboot. Warning, collision course, massive system damage. Main airlock open, system diagnostic test activated. Result 341 critical fails. So it's like a ship just seemed to have come out of nowhere. So the only time you can get to this memory log is when you're at one of these interfaces, it seems like. That may not be the case. Nope, it isn't. You can just press the Y button. X button doesn't do anything unless you're standing next to an object. B button brings up the map. A jumps. Which I feel like perhaps the map in the memory log should be doubly accessible through the pause menu. So if there's 2 ships in a collision here,
You came anyway.
there's a question as to
left of the ship.
what are some of the technology here.
I suppose watching a mind unravel into bare matter is cathartic. I suppose. Who is this I doing all this opposing? Is it still me? Is it them? There's only one way to be sure. I just don't know if they'll let me take it.
So it seems like she's gonna jump. I wish this little cursor would let you would disappear in cutscenes like that when text is on the screen, because the cursor is a distraction, certainly. So you're hearing this female voice of the other. Who's to say that that isn't the original, or just another swapper clone of you? I mean, the suits look the same. By default, I imagine most gamers assume a character is male, but it would be very traditional in the Metroid series to be surprised that actually the whole time you were playing as a female. But yeah, I don't know how a story really wraps up if it turns out that she's just the lift is not operational. she's just trying to break a cycle here and kill herself and possibly kill all of the clones. It does create an interesting question. Do you have a right to end your life and end the life of your clones? Or do you only have a right to end your own life of your single instance of you? Or do you not even have that right? The idea of clones potentially wanting to live while the original not wanting to live. I think the desire to live probably makes a good argument that they have a right to live at that point. What happened? Take notice also that the screen went dark. We didn't see what happened, so it does seem like you are mentally being blocked from seeing what's happening. Because it seemed pretty obvious that she was just about to jump and kill herself. But how many times has that happened, I wonder? Are we going to potentially play the entire game in a loop? Where is this going to take us? Is the next question. Seems like it might just take us to a completely different area.
I beg your pardon, this place changes people. My name is Chalmers. I worked here a long time ago. Oh, but I'm afraid I'm headed for the mine Scilab with some emergency. I'll try to...
See, so that seems like that may very well have been the first instance of seeing that lady. So maybe she isn't me. And we just saw the last instance of her. Teleport malfunction. We are now back in this area, which we may have never been in before. Anyways, this may have just been a... The other mind seeks our head. Why? We are all a chain. Our weaknesses are shared. Okay. And then there's another way that we could be teleported to the spot. It seems like 2 different times you're going to teleport this way. Where is this teleport going to take me if I use it, though? Floating rocks, potentially preventing me from...
There you are. Couldn't leave you for dead now, could we? Take the transport beam up to research. Get a move on. I'll give you the orientation on the way.
Interesting. So it seems like if this light goes off, we can go up to that area. Sector 2 research. And that seems like that's where we're going. And you can't even turn around and go back, so seems like the game has just forced us in that direction. I would have to assume that the long distance teleporter here maybe would have unlocked a path, but I imagine we may need to just use it later anyways. It's possible this has nothing to do with the swapper technology at all, and it has more to do with the teleporter technology, in that the teleporter might be creating 2 copies of people. I'm still a little uncertain about how big this game is. If anything, it seems like there's a lot of room for just empty areas. And honestly, that's not the worst idea. I definitely have seen some games that try to sell themselves kind of as Metroidvania games, and all they do is put a standard square that is the same length and same width next to another standard square next to another standard square, and it just doesn't have the feel of a maze-like structure as much as it just feels like a grid of laid out rooms that interconnect too easily. But yeah, there's definitely some empty space here, and then question marks as far as the empty spaces here and here. And if we are going up to research, I would assume that there's some stuff that goes all around here, and that it doesn't just make a long tunnel like all the way up to this top place. If anything, it kind of seems like there's potentially 4 main sections on the space station. If there is another ship, then that would explain like this area and this area. If one of those is the planet, one of those is the other ship, we may spend a minimal amount of time in those areas. It would be kind of weird if all of a sudden we had a whole second map when we are in a different area, but that wouldn't even be that strange. We have 13 orbs and we really only needed 9, so it does kind of seem like we will be challenged to get more orbs in this next section and already have most of them. If that isn't the case, then they may force you back. I wouldn't be surprised if actually you get into the research area and then there's immediately a way to come back and use the teleporter to go collect more orbs. Because I could definitely see some players like missing half of them and just moving forward with the story. Which arguably maybe that's the reason why most Metroidvania games don't have a story, or as much of a story, is because if you make the game too intriguing on the story, you may want to just sit back and experience the narrative adventure and forget about the interactive video game play elements. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links in the description. There's also a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list to support me further. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.